Spiro, second. Okay, so that was the motion by Spiro to start the business meeting, seconded by Petra. Okay, so we'll proceed with the roll. That is done by our secretary, Dawn. She's not here at the moment, so I will read the roll call. Jay, that's me here. Petra, here in person. Lakeisha,
Present.
here. Espira, Dawn, not here at the moment. Eddie, here. Jonathan, here. Maria, here. Mei Ping, and Xin Ping, here. Thank you. I'm Jay Brown, president of CEC21. On behalf of our entire council, welcomes the October 2025 business meeting of Community Education Council 21. We're excited to be here at Cavallaro, hosted by Principal Bender, the entire IS281 family. Feels particularly good to be here on this day, meeting in this space as a community in a public meeting. We're glad for everyone who's joined us. And then we'll proceed with old business. Review of September's minutes and absences. Those were sent from last month's minutes were sent in advance of this meeting. Are there any concerns or questions regarding the minutes? I don't see any. Absences. We only had 2 absences last month. Technically, they were 2 members, Tayaba and Svetlana, who had been elected but were not going to come and join us. So we did remove them through the roll calls. We got to that point in the agenda, but because we did the roll calls and they were absent, we just will need to technically do that vote. Again, they had previously been unexcused. So we'll just need to do a vote again when we get to that in new business. I'm going to do those at one vote. We vote them together. Does anyone have any problems with that? None? Okay, so now we'll move on to reports of council members. Just a reminder to our members, your monthly activity reports will be due on the 5th of the following month. So just keep that in mind. And at this point, we'd like to allow council members to report back on activities they've had around the district since we last met. Would anybody like to?
Yes, I attended the 75 weeks on September 18. There was a lot of representatives from the Office of Legal Transportation OPT to discuss personal issues. And the Office of Food and Nutrition Services, FNS, was in attendance. They spoke about school meetings, and there's also a school tasting event. Parents are welcome. The Office of Energy, regarding sterilizing and solar. And there is also a $5,000 sustainability project award. And the Office for Contracts and Purchasing was in attendance, and the Office for Emergency Planning and Response Team 311 for dealing regarding fires, floods, and power outages. I also spent the State of the School address September 29. To be honest, I was at the meeting, but I couldn't hear anything. The place was crowded. They took us to another room. So maybe Jay can give us some information if he was in attendance, but I can't report because I couldn't make anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Petra. Does anybody else have any?
Hi, I attended, I didn't attend, but I went over to PS97. They have their new open street program. What they done was close down the street on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It seems to be going well. Only closed when the weather is permitting. If it's raining, they stay inside. But as of now, there's no page from the residents and from the city. Because more getting people off the streets where they're parking, so that it isn't very loud cars be obstructed. But other than that, their program is going very well. So if any other schools are interested, do let us know.
Thank you, Eddie. Yeah, we had actually from Open Plans MIC a presentation on open streets back a few years ago here at CEC21. So if anybody needs information about that, would like to look at applying for an open street, or the street will be closed at a period of time around the school, like we can always help provide that information. Which street is it?
West Baltimore.
West 12th Street, right there, on the backside of the street.
Yep.
Right, so here, anybody else? I'll just share mine, on Thursday, September 11th, I joined District 21 President's Council, meeting, and, on the 15th of last month, we had a CEC presidents from around the city had a meeting with Chancellor Vilas Ramos that we have, about monthly. On the 25th of September, we had our DLT meeting. On October 3rd, CCHS, the Citywide Council on High Schools, I hopped in and joined their borough committee meeting for the borough of Brooklyn. On October 6th, we had here in the district, I was glad to join the D21 Middle School Fair, which was a great job at Moody, seeing all the middle schools from across District 21 present. Amazing turnout. There were so many people there, seeing about Cavallaro and Moody and all the different schools from around the district. So it was a really great, a great event. I actually stepped into the stairwell at one point because I joined that same night a meet and greet for CEC presidents with NYPD First Commissioner, Commissioner Kinsella. The question I asked about was crossing guards. I know we still, NYPD oversees crossing guards. We still have, really important intersections, potentially dangerous intersections that are unstaffed. I know they're trying to get more people to apply, get more people to the system, get those staff, but, we need more people to apply and fill those slots. But there's also been concerns sometimes where some of the most important intersections that really need a crossing guard do not have them. And sometimes it's tough. There are schools that they have intersections with crossing guards that are in 3 different precincts. So, I was asking the first deputy commissioner if at her level or some level, a few steps below her, but not at the individual precinct level, if they look at that with some intelligence, so they're not kind of fighting over things and just pulling one crossing guard from one area and taking away from another one that really needs it. So they really identify the most important areas. So they said they would be following up on that. On October 8th, we had a parent, our committee on hiring, which is myself, Lakeisha, and Petra. We had a parent coordinator consult with Dewey High School, with a candidate that they'd like to hire. On the 14th of October, so yesterday, there was an engagement with CEC presidents on Chancellor's Regulation D210. So just to let you know what D210 is, that is a regulation that was put in a few years ago, and it prohibits citywide and community education council members from engaging in conduct, and officially it is that serves to harass, intimidate, or threaten, including but not limited to frequent verbal abuse, unnecessary aggressive speech, to intimidate and cause others to have concern for their personal safety. And then there is a second provision from that regulation that deals with prohibiting council members from engaging in contact involving derogatory or offensive comments about any DOE student. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. You can't harass people. We certainly can't do it to students. At the moment, the update was that the chancellor is waiving enforcement of those 2 sections. And the reason being is because there's litigation. There was an elected parent a few years ago who had been ruled to have been in violation of that and harassing people, even a student. And there was a consequence taken against them. And there's been litigation about that. So as that's progressing, the determination right now is to suspend that. So, I think it's I think everyone on our council agree that's, those are good provisions to have to make everyone feel safe, the adults, and especially our children here in our districts. But I'll provide more information as that moves forward. So now we move on to new business and approval of minutes and absences. So I'll do the roll call vote. Minutes, myself, Jay, approve. Petra? Lakeisha,
Approved.
Asphira, Dawn is not present. Eddie, Jonathan, Maria, Mayping, and Shiping. Approved by all the members here, so it passes, the minutes are approved, and the absences for those two members who have now, been removed from the council. Myself, Jay, I will vote those absences last month, unexcused, Petra.
Approved.
It's, absences for the two members who left, unexcused or excused. I voted unexcused to start, so what are you voting? Unexcused, okay, Lakeisha? Excused, Isvira? Excused, Dawn is not present. Eddie? That's weird. Unexcused, Jonathan? Unexcused, Maria? Unexcused. Mayping? Unexcused, and Shaping? Unexcused, so all the members here in our quorum voted unexcused, so it is unexcused for both members. Now we're going to quickly review the resolution in support of better school bus services for New York City students. Just pull this out. So we have a resolution on the docket. We shared it publicly, we shared it with all council members. Did everyone have a chance to review it? Does anyone have any questions? No questions. I won't read through the whole resolution unless somebody wishes me to, but it's basically just explaining the need for reliable bus service. It's also talking about Senate bill and a corresponding Assembly bill and state assembly that will prioritize the retention and hiring of experienced school bus drivers, mechanics, and attendants to ensure a safe and reliable transportation system for New York City students. And also preserving some wages and benefits for school bus workers in cities with populations exceeding 1 million, which would be New York City. Because there are some contracts that do need to come up, so what it resolves to do at the end is that it urges New York State Assembly and Senate members to prioritize those two bills and for the governor to sign it, and also recommends the panel for education policy here, the New York City School Board, not to extend current busing contracts beyond August 2026 and negotiate the shortest possible extension of outdated school bus contracts. So DOE can rebid the bus contracts and work to modernize and improve yellow bus service for city students as soon as possible. So that's the basic summary of that resolution, which we will vote on and have public comment on if anyone wants comment in our calendar meeting. So now we will proceed with the treasurer's report presented by our treasurer, Asphira.
Good afternoon, everyone. The treasurer's report for October is as follows. We started off our balance with $20,736. Total expenditures for the month of September was $788, and our closing balance is at $19,948.
Thank you, Asphira. Now we have two vacancies, so a bit of news for me. I actually oddly had to submit a resignation letter the other day, but just because I resigned my elected seat, I was elected to, because the Brooklyn Borough President appointed me as their second Borough President appointee. So Lakeisha is their one Borough President appointee. They appointed me with the second opening that they had not yet filled, so now my seat is vacant that I have been elected to. So we have a vacancy for that. We had a vetted candidate who was going to come tonight, but she just recently had some changes in her work schedule that wouldn't allow her to be part of CEC. So we thank her for her consideration. We also had an L candidate, an English language learner parent, who had applied for that vacancy as well. We have one more vacancy for that. Steve, did you get confirmation if that parent was coming? No, we did not. And if I'm missing that parent, I don't think I am, but if that parent is here. Okay, so I don't see that parent here. So this would have been the time we would have interviewed those candidates. They would have provided some comments. We'll try to find some candidates for next month, and hopefully we could fill those last two positions. If anyone you know would be interested in filling either of those two seats, again, one is a general seat open to any parent or guardian of a District 21 student through 8th grade, and then the other one, same for District 21 through 8th grade, but for a parent guardian of a ELL student. You can reach out to us at CEC21@schools.nyc.gov. We will also push this out to all schools so it can be shared with the school communities, so we can get some applicants and try to fill those last two seats, fill out our council here. And with that, is there a motion from the council to adjourn the October 25 business meeting? Maria, and, okay, and seconded by Ms. Yura. Okay, so we're gonna be back at 6 o'clock, so just under 10 minutes. We're gonna have a great performance here from students from the dance team, and we will see you at 6 o'clock for the virtual members. It'll go quiet here for a few minutes, and we will see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Cavallaro. Our CEC, our Community School Board, gives us so much support. Here, we have all our staff, our PTA, amazing work back there, helping everything together along with our Cavallaro staff members. We welcome Superintendent Lynch to our building, first time in her new role, big clap. Yeah. So we're gonna have our CEC21 dancers. It was a quick turnaround, but they put something really nice together for you. So they're gonna do a little something on the stage. I'm gonna have our amazing dance teacher, Ms. Rubin, present, and then we'll have the meeting going. Ms. Rubin.
Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Rubin, the dance teacher. So the dance team is about to perform what we're calling a musical medley. We love musicals here. It's going to be 4 short pieces. The first one is from the Disney movie Hercules. The second one is from The Great Showman, the movie. The third one is from the Broadway musical Matilda. And the fourth one is from the Broadway musical Hell's Kitchen. So enjoy our musical medley.
Close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting for me, that I call my home. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. Say it all. See, say I love you. I don't care if they call
We live in a world that dreams.
We won't forget the day we fought. Chucky does.
Grew up in a town that is famous as a place of no mercy. Noise is always loud, there are signs all around, the streets are deep. If I could make it here, I could make it anywhere, that's what they say. See my face in lights, so my name on Rocky's found, and I'm way. Only I can
All the talents of our students here. So I'm gonna hand the mic over and turn the projector off. Do you need the screen in the back? Yes? Okay. Oh, I guess I'm.
Just getting our technical set up that. Again, let's give another round of applause for the students, the dance team, amazing performance. Getting our video back up and running. As we settle back in, we have our council in front. So with that, do I have a motion from the council to begin our October 2025 calendar meeting? Lakeisha, seconded by Megan. I will read the roll call. Jay, myself here, Petra. Here, Lakeisha.
Present.
Aspira.
Here.
Dawn is not present. Eddie. Present. Jonathan. Here. Maria.
Here.
May Pen.
Here.
Shaping. So we have a quorum, so we can proceed. I'm Jay Brown, president of CEC21, on behalf of our entire council. I would like to welcome everyone to the October 25 calendar meeting of the Education Council 21. As always, we're glad to be, as always. So it's the first one officially. She's here on her own as our IA superintendent, Andreas. Good. We're gonna be here this month, and have going forward this school year, beyond possible. We thank Principal Vendor and her staff for hosting us here at Cavallaro. Thank you so much again. Again, it was a little bit to be here in this space, meeting as a community. Thank you to the 281 PTA. Thanks to the district staff, principals, assistant principals, teachers, parent coordinators, support staff, students and families joining us in person and virtually. We'd like to acknowledge our new DOE face governance specialist, Kai Sid. Thank you so much for joining us. Your support going forward. We'd like to thank Ina Krasnicki, who has been our face support specialist for the past year plus, for all she did for us. She's been reassigned, so she's helping some other councils. We thank her again for all of her support the past year. And as always, especially, we'd like to thank our CEC21 administrative assistant, Steve Washington. If we get to any discussion, any public comment later or in the chat online, we just ask that we focus any comments on ideas, issues, not people. We maintain a safe, respectful atmosphere for everyone, so everyone can speak. For the public comment portion of the meeting, if you'd like to request 2 minutes of speaking time, there is a sign-up sheet in the back. You can request that back there. That will be at the back end of this meeting. The virtual participants, when we get to that, you can either use the raise hand function, you can drop a question in the comments, and we will make sure we get your question asked. So again, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So do we have any students here who would like to lead us? We need a student or students.
Yeah.
Hispanic folks are siblings.
Yes, don't be shy. They have to come here. Want me to use the flag?
Someone to lead us.
We're getting it. The dance.
Okay.
United States of America, you go on. Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's great. Okay, before we move on with the first order of business, regarding our resolution, we're joined by Assemblyman William Colton. Thank you for joining us. We have public comment at the end where anyone can speak, but as always, we like to afford our public. Would you like to speak now? Yeah, we want to be respectful of your time, so Assemblyman William Colton. The mic is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I want, first of all, to say I'm very happy to be in this beautiful school, Principal Bender. And the entertainment, I walked in to see the entertainment of the children, and it was spectacular. And we have a lot of talent in District 21. And we're very appreciative of that, and we want to keep it going. A great job that's being done. And we're in a new school year now. I would like to congratulate Superintendent,
Thank you.
and I'm sure you're gonna have a great time here and be great with the district.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I am concerned about what's gonna be happening with next year's school budget. This is gonna probably be a difficult year, and we have to, parents and everyone have to be on top of it and make sure that we pay attention and that we get the resources that we need for our children, because our children are number one. And we gotta keep doing the great job that has been done and make sure they get the resources necessary to do that. I'm also concerned about the after-school programs. We have to watch them very carefully. The RFPs for the after-school programs have been already issued. And I've sent a letter to the Chancellor and also the Department of Youth Development that it is very important that we make sure that our schools here in District 21 are properly funded with after-school programs. That's very important. And we have to fight to make sure that happens if there's any attempts to cut back on those funds. Because parents who depend upon these programs to work, to have a job, and then suddenly the program gets taken away from a school that had the program, the result is that they might be in danger of not having their job. We don't want to impoverish people. We want to keep the families so that the children are well taken care of, that we have daycare programs and after-school programs. And I would like to see that expanded more and more. So, we'll be on top of that and make sure that that happens, that we fight for that. The other thing is, my office and the office of Councilmember Susan Wong are launching a children's book campaign. We've collected books and we're continuing to collect them, and we're offering 3 children's books at my office and also the office of Susan Swan on 20th Avenue and 65th Street. My office is 155 Kings Highway. The second and fourth Friday of every month, we're setting up a table outside the office, and any children who come can pick up to 2 free books each time they come. And we want to really, make sure that all of our children have the access to books and resources so that they can really enjoy and open up a whole new world of learning to them. And there's many books in the school, but we also want to make sure that there are books outside the school, and we're going to be continuing to do that. And so anyone who comes, the hours are between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And any child who comes, a parent who comes for their child, can pick up 2 free books. It's exciting to watch the children picking out the book, finding something they really like to read, and then taking that home, and they can, that book is now theirs. We've done it in front of some schools, and we're going to continue doing that over the coming months. So anyone who wants to take advantage of that have their child come, certainly you're welcome to do so. I want to wish everybody a very good school year. As I said, we may have challenges with the budget, but we're gonna watch that carefully. And I think this district is gonna continue, as has been in the past, an excellent school district. It's really a family. And that's what makes District 21 special. It's a family with all of our children, with all of the staff who do a great job, with the administrators who do a great job, and the CEC20, which is gonna continue doing a great job, I'm sure. So thank you all. And, hey, it's great to hear.
Thank you, Senator Golden. While we're affording speaking time to elected officials or the representatives, I see we're joined by Councilman Brannon's representative, Sanjay Cephas. Would you like to say a few words?
Hello, good evening, a beautiful performance. Give it up for the children. Any questions you might have, go back to the member, and if you guys have questions, just let me know, okay?
Thank you. I'm not missing anybody, am I? I think. Don't miss any elected officials. Okay, thank you again, all of you, for being here tonight. We really appreciate you joining us here at CC21 for our October meetings. So now we're gonna move on to the next sort of business. It was a resolution that I authored and Petra and Lakeisha co-sponsored with me. We discussed it in the business meeting amongst the council here. It's about better bus transportation school bus transportation for our students. And it's actually references some state legislation that's currently, there's an assembly bill and a senate bill. So if we pass that resolution, we will be sending it to your office, Assemblyman Colton. So is there any public comment on the resolution? Does anybody have anything we afford public comments? That's the next part of our agenda here. I could also check in the chat. We had shared this out publicly before the meeting, the resolution. I don't see anything. So if there's no questions or concerns, don't see any, and nothing online. So we will move on to the vote. So with that, we'll take the vote on the resolution. So regarding the resolution, and the title is Resolution in Support of Better School Bus Services for New York City Students. So start with myself, Jay, yes. Petra?
Yes.
Yes. Lakeisha?
Yes.
Espira? Dawn is not present. Eddie?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
Mei Ping?
Yes.
And Xing. So we have a quorum and all the members present voted yes, so the resolution passes. Thank you very much for that. We will be carrying it out and sending it to all the electeds and the DOE officials. Thank you for that. And now we have a presentation from the Office of Language Access. I believe we're joined by Mr. Williams.
Yes,
Hi, Mr. Williams, how are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
Bad, not bad. So Robert Williams is with OLA, the Office for Language Access, and we're really thrilled to have him here. I think he was here last year as well. And we always look forward to this presentation. It's very informative, very enlightening to see all the amazing things that OLA does to make sure all our students, no matter, and families, no matter what language they speak or read or write, translations are available to them. So with that, I think you have hosting abilities. Mr.
Okay.
Williams? And you could share your screen.
Nope, I don't actually.
I think we're doing that right now. Let me just give him the ability to share.
Okay,
Okay, on the spotlight.
I have it now.
It's all yours whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Williams. I am the External Outreach Specialist at the Office of Language Access, which means I am the point person for all parent engagements. This presentation, I'm going to show you how to navigate the DOE website in case you want to request any translated documents or request an interpreter to join at any PTA meetings or graduations. Okay. On the agenda, we're going to talk about the New York City's public school background, our commitment to New York City public schools families, raising awareness in our communities, the schools.nyc.gov hello webpage, and if there are any questions. There are over 1 million students in over 1,600 plus schools that speak over 180 languages. Approximately 40% of New York City public school household speak a language other than English at home. And our non-English covered languages are Albanian, Arabic, Bangla, Chinese, French, Haitian Creole, Korean, Russian, Spanish, Ukrainian, Urdu, and Uzbek. We provide free language assistance services to ensure all families can access important information and communicate effectively with school staff. These services include interpretation for all types of meetings and interactions with school staff, whether it's in person, virtual, and over the phone. Translation of critical communications to ensure parents remain informed in their preferred language. And our office is dedicated to supporting both staff and families with the resources necessary to effectively communicate in languages other than English. Now we're going to talk about how we raised awareness in our communities. We have done out-of-home ads on the MTA subways and the MTA buses. We have done print and digital community ads in supermarkets, laundromats, salons, barbershops, and pharmacies. And we have also advertised over the radio. At the bottom is a little snapshot of the MTA bus shelter where we have had an ad placed, and also a snapshot of the MTA subway. We also have done direct parent outreach through robocalls, emails, text messages, and mailers. If you have not received one or any of these of our direct parent outreach, please make sure all your information is updated at the school. We pull from the same system that schools enter all your information in. I know we tend to change phone numbers or addresses, so please just make sure all your information is correct so you can receive all of our direct parent outreach. So now we're going to talk about the schools.nyc.gov/hello webpage. Once you go onto the website, you're going to notice at the top right corner, there's a Google drop-down. You just select your preferred language, and the entire website will translate into that language. But please note, automatic translation is not intended to replace human translations and is provided as a service to visitors of the website. The first thing you're going to see is a little short video. I just want to explain the same thing I'm going to explain to you, so I'm not going to play it now. And it's also available in our covered languages. So here is a little activity. I ask parents to just type in schools.nyc.gov/hello so that you can bookmark this page. Trust me, it's a good resource for you to refer back to in case you need to request any of the language services. Underneath that, you're going to notice a few tabs. I'm not going to get into all of them. I'm just going to get into some of the key language services that's available to you. And also, if you have your phone, you can scan that QR code on the right, and it will take you directly to the Hello webpage. So the first tab we're going to talk about is going to read helpful resources. Here, you will find a family's brochure that advises families of the availability of language assistance services. You may also request one at your school. On the right is a sample of how the brochure looks. You will notice at the bottom, there's a little cutout portion. Whichever language you speak, you just cut that portion out, bring that portion to the school, and the school must provide communication in that language. But let's say you speak a language that's not listed here. We also have a blank portion as well. You just type, you could just write in what your language is, cut that portion out, bring that portion to the school, and the school still must provide communication in that language. So here, I'm going to talk about our translation and interpretation service request form. If you choose to complete this form, but you may do so, but please go to your school first for direct support. They are your direct contact for support first. But let's say if a school has a new staff member and they're not aware of our services and have not attended one of our training sessions, then you can come and fill out this form. I'll forward this to the principal, the parent coordinator, and whoever is the language access coordinator of that school. Each school should have a language access coordinator. That person is the one who is designated by the principal that we train for like a 2.5-hour training, and they are supposed to turnkey the information back to school staff to better support parents. This form is also available in our covered languages, and if you would like to scan with your phone, we provided a QR code as well. So how do you access that form? There's a tab that will read how to request language services. You click on that tab, and then you'll be able to click on this link here and find the form. You may also call 311 to make a request for language assistance services. Interpretation over the phone is available in over 200 languages. Underneath that, you will see a tab that reads how to request sign language interpreting service. This office is separate from our office. A lot of people think that we're all in the same office, but this is a separate office. So they ask that you contact them directly at oslis@schools.nyc.gov, or you can do so by calling the 212 number listed, and they also have provided a video phone as well. This form is our contact the Office of Language Access form. Again, if you fill out this form, it's the same process. I'll forward it to the principal, parent coordinator, and whoever is the language access coordinator of that school. And we also provided a QR code as well. How do you reach that form? You will see a tab that reads how to connect with us. You would just click on that tab. You can also ask your school's parent coordinator or principal, and you also can call 311, or you can just click on our contact Ola form. So here is our translation and interpretation feedback survey. We want to know how schools are doing with supporting you in your preferred language, whether it's so-so or great. We want to not not just know the bad things that a school is not doing, but we want to know some of the good things as well, so we can ask that school to model for other schools who are having difficulty supporting their parents. And we also provided a QR code as well. Now, how do you find this form? You're going to see a tab that reads how to share your language service experience. You just click on that tab, and then you just click on that link and it'll take you directly to that form. So for those who would like to save that form on their phone, here is the QR code. You just scan that code, save the form, and you know, you can fill out whenever you have the available time. Schools love to hear, and I must say schools do love to hear the feedback that families are given, whether it's good or bad. If it's, you know, they won't know how to better support you if they're not aware. So, and you can also fill this out anonymously. You don't have to provide your name or any details. You can just do it anonymously as well. The last tab is going to read having difficulties obtaining language assistance services. If you are facing difficulties obtaining language assistance, we're here to support you. You can also submit a claim through our translation and interpretation service complaint form. This complaint form comes directly to our office. This is separate from the complaint form that's on the DOE website, because that complaint form goes directly to the district. This form comes directly to our office so that we can figure out how to better the school to support you. And with that is the end. Are there any questions?
Do we have any questions from the council? Don't see any. I have a question, actually. There are a lot of schools use push out messages that officially they come from an email address that just says MIC Public Schools, but it'll be a message from the school. If the school would like, are they able to, obviously they can't target it to every individual parent based on their language, but is there a way that they could have those translated and include some sort of link so that, you know, if there is a parent that can read that English message, that there would be a link down below and they would see in simplified Chinese, I can click that and then have that existing translation somewhere that I can get the message from my child's school.
Like for so we actually suggest, whether it's like say for this meeting, right? So we suggest that when you're doing your advertisement, they're trying to get parents to come to these meetings, that you send flyers and links in their preferred language, because if it's just in English and they do not understand or read English, this is why you're not having those families come to your meetings or any school events. So we do suggest that, you know, those links be in their preferred language, and our translation department will help schools create that. If they are not aware of how to, they will help them create it, because that's what we actually advertise for schools to do. So if they need help, they can just reach out to our translation department, and then they will be able to help them with those links.
Appreciate it. One other follow-up question on it. When schools request translation, I know some of it's based on what's being translated. Is it a short message? Is it a whole entire multi-page, document with chapters? But, for something reasonable, what is the turnaround time? Like, how much time does OLA need for something like a one-page message to the school community?
So a one pager typically is about 5 to 7 business days. That's up to about, I believe, it's up to about 500 or 600 words. I mean, and now let me say that was the norm before 5 to 7 business days, but now they have just hired quite a bit of new staff, so it may be even quicker now.
I appreciate that. We did have a question or two from our chat, from the virtual attendees. There is one, that's asking, are these services available for PTA meetings?
Yeah, so interpretation interpreters are available for PTA meetings, but only so if the PTA president needs an interpreter for the PTA meeting, they will go to the parent coordinator or the AP or principal, asking them to request from OLA to have an interpreter at that meeting. And schools do not have to spend the money to come out of their regular school budget. We provide funding for each school, and that depends on the population. Some schools have a $3,000 budget, some have, I've seen 10,000, 12,000. So it depends on the population of that school, but we provide funds just for those events. So it's separate from the regular school budget.
Thank you. There's one other question from the same guest. Do you offer English language services to parents?
If we offer English language services to what again? I'm sorry.
To parents.
So we just so our office focuses on supporting parents. Everything that we do, whether it's interpretation or document translation, is for the parents, not for the students. The students, schools have to go through the multilingual learners division, and they will help the schools with the student. They will help schools with students, but we focus on supporting parents only.
And I think maybe what the questioner was asking was, are there services provided to parents for learning English? I think that's.
Yeah, we don't provide those services.
Are there any other questions? Are there any questions from our in-person?
I do have a question.
We have a question from Petra from the council.
There was some service one year provided to school. What about community-based organizations and leading to leaders or services with reference to dealing with special needs? Like, I know an office, the director of needs interpretation service, so it's not the candidates to speak Spanish, French, different languages. So where can she get him?
This is for community-based organizations. Are you guys, her question relates to community-based organizations. Are you guys about community-based organizations helping students that are connected to the DOE? Okay. So her question is, are interpretation services, translation services available for CEOs or community-based organizations that are working in conjunction with the DOE and service to the New York City students?
So I have seen schools actually, so CBOs cannot request from us and parents can, it has to be a school staff. So if the CBO is actually in the school working with the school, they can go to any staff member, which more likely probably be the parent coordinator or admin, to request our services for their parents. And and because they are with the parent, I've seen schools actually request our services and the CBOs were there. I mean, that's how they request it. Only school staff can request it, and they'll still send an interpreter there to support those parents. We don't care who is there actually in conjunction helping those parents, as long as the school staff request, we'll send it out.
And like to summarize, I guess like because you touched on the PTA and now Petra's question about the CBO, so anything in service to New York City public school students in our schools these services are available, but they have to be requested by a DO employee.
Yes, yes.
Okay, are there any other questions for Mr. Williams? I do not see any other questions. And as always, Ms. Williams, we really appreciate the presentation, you answering the questions that we've had, and all the work that OLA does, helping support our students and families.
Well, thank you for having me, and everyone enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Good night.
Okay, so with that, I just would like to also call out, we're joined by our President's Council, District 21 President, Violetta. Thank you so much, Violetta, for being here. And also I know we have some other PTA representatives from across the district joining us. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your partnership. All the CEC21 members surely do. And with that, we will move on to the next item, which is our superintendent's report, presented by IA Superintendent Lynn Travis.
Thank you. Steve is getting your slides ready. Thank you. Okay, let's just stand up so that. So welcome everyone, and once again, thank you to Cavallaro and to all the student performers, they were absolutely fantastic. So amazing, and to their dance teacher, pretty impressive to get that together on like day 30, right? So thanks again, yes. So I am going to talk a little bit about some of, you can go to the next slide for me, thanks. Yep, so I'm gonna talk about some of the initiatives, the slides didn't update, but I'm going to talk a little bit about MTSS and New York City Reads. I'm going to talk about chronic absenteeism, cell phone policy, and a couple of hot button topics, and then open to any questions. So as you know, we are phase 1 district for the New York City Reads rollout. We embraced HMH across our district for our K-5 ELA curriculum. We are in year 3. It's been going quite successfully. Last CEC meeting, we discussed the tremendous gains that we've made across the district in moving the proficiency needle. Yes, not only for all of our students, but for our subgroups, particularly our subgroups that are hard to move, like our students with IEPs, and our multilingual learners. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the next phase of this work, which is MTSS. MTSS is a multi-tiered system of support. I realize I can see your screen now, I don't want to turn around. Multi-tiered system of support, and it's an approach that we're using to identify students, including our students with disabilities and multilingual learners who need support, right? So it's any students that are below grade level. MTSS really includes academics and social emotional learning. And that needs to be said, and we are still very focused on the social emotional learning that's embedded within our schools. And we've been offering lots of individual supports for social emotional learning. This focus is really on the academic piece. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're doing it and what the process is like. And as families of students who are being screened and being offered services, what you can expect from us in the district and from your individual schools. Next slide, please. So, thank you. So what MTSS is early support for students that are below grade level. And this talks about some verbiage here, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So the science of reading says that all students who are below grade level in any standard or skill, in order for them to progress forward toward proficiency, they need to be given intervention. Tier 2, tier 3, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference. Tier 2 and tier 3 intervention is remedial intervention. And the intention of that is to close gaps for kids. Tier 1 instruction is core instruction. So that is the regular instruction that's delivered in ELA and math on grade level based on standards, right? And so when we talk about multi-tiered systems of support, when you hear tier 1 means regular on grade level instruction. Any student who is below grade level, even 1 year below grade level, in order to move forward, may need appropriate intervention coupled with strong on grade level instruction. Scaffolded with supports for that student to access the grade level standard work and to be able to demonstrate mastery of standards. If we do one without the other, we are widening the gap for students, not closing the gap. And so we first had to talk about how we strengthen our core, and that's what we've done for the last 2 years. And I will say across the district, no matter what school you go to, you will see strong ELA instruction using HMH materials. And I know what we're doing is working because not just our proficiency levels, but student progress. Individual student progress has been tremendous across the district. And we use these screeners to gauge progress. Progress on for me, go to the next slide, please. So these are the components of MTSS. There's 5 components of MTSS, and each component drives toward the instructional focus of the school. So we talked about, so first building the infrastructure, and I'm going to speak a little bit about each of these components. Next slide. So building the literacy infrastructure is first, right? So we have a district literacy plan. Our district literacy plan this year is aligning to state standards, right? HMH is a fantastic skill-based curriculum. We are tasked with teaching to the standards, to New York State standards. And so this year, our work in the district and supporting schools is all about getting teachers to be able to use the HMH materials to plan for standard aligned teaching and to gauge how students are doing towards standard mastery. So that's the first piece of the infrastructure, is setting a literacy plan for the school, and then identifying consistent time for intervention periods. So intervention periods, tier 2 and tier 3 must be delivered in addition to 4. And ideally, we need at least 3 45-minute periods of intervention per week. In our district, it's different in some schools, but we like to call it win periods, what I need periods. And the reason why we call it win periods is because while students who are below grade level in some things, it's not all things, right? And we're only trying to give them what they need for the things that they're struggling with, but we also have to make sure we're keeping our eye on supporting their continued progression in the things that they're good at. And ensuring that our students who are proficient at level 3s and 4s, that we're challenging them to make sure that they're moving on the continuum. It's not good enough that they're 3 and they're proficient. We need them to move to 4s. And if they're 4s and they're mastering grade level, then how do we get them to think more critically and to push beyond their potential to be more than ready for high school and college and beyond? And so these win periods are not just about remediation. It's about giving students what they need to progress along their trajectory and their continuum. And so first we have to set up that infrastructure. So this year across the district, every single school, K-8, is programmed for at least 3 strategic reading periods or win periods in ELA. We're not there yet for math, but we're working on it. And then they have to form an MTSS team. They have to administer screeners to students, diagnostics, and secondary screeners. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more. You can go on, Steve, to the next slide. In addition to creating this infrastructure, then we have to ensure that once we've identified the periods this is going to happen, identified the kids who need the support, then we need to figure out what we're going to ask teachers to use to deliver the instruction to students. And so that's HQ, IM is high quality instructional materials. So we've already decided that tier 1 is HMH. We know that's high quality. The city has put out a list, and that's in a further slide, of a very short list of high quality tier 2 and tier 3 materials that all schools across the district are using. Some of our schools were using those things already. Some of our schools are newly training our teachers in those things if they need to shift, but we're supporting them across the district. And then of course, that we have to align our professional learning, making sure the teachers know what they need to know to do this well. Next slide. And then we talked about the identifying the time. So every school has a block of time and 45-minute periods of these 3 days per week. Next slide. So the MTSS data team is leveraging, what we're asking schools to do is leverage existing team structures. So if schools already have an instructional leadership team, maybe repurposing that, grade leads, but the point of this team is to monitor the work, right? To make sure that there are people, so that we're not putting everything on our teachers, is to make sure that there are a dedicated group of people that are going to decide when do students get screened, who's doing the screening, how do we put the data together for teachers to look at, how do we determine which students need which intervention, and then how do we get that all in action and have it happen. And then once it's happening, how do we monitor student progress, right? Because tier 2, tier 3 intervention, it's not a place that you live, it's a place that you visit. You go, you get what you need, and move on. And so there has to be a team at the school level that's progress monitoring, making sure that the progress monitoring is happening. And it's not enough to just progress monitor and say, little Catherine is struggling with CBC words, consonant, vowel, consonant, so we're gonna deliver the instruction and move on. We need to make sure that little Catherine can apply what she learned to reading, and that increases their reading level. Not that they just understand the skill that was delivered by the program, that is actually translating to being able to increase their reading levels. So that's what we're asking schools to create these teams to do. Next slide, please. So we talked about the evidence-based intervention programs. You can go on from here. I'm going ahead of myself. Thank you. So these are the lists. This is the list that Central has come out with, or the Chancellor's Office has created and come out with. And I want to make sure, because I know we hear iReady a lot. So iReady is a diagnostic screener that we use to determine where students are on grade level. Foundational skills happen for K-2. So this is our phonics, phonemic awareness instruction that's happening in K-2. So these are the list of programs that schools can choose from to deliver this K-2 instruction. In our district, the large majority of our schools use Foundations, which is by Wilson. Second is OG, or in Gillingham, and we have one school that uses Really Great Reading. So those are the phonics programs that exist. All of our schools this year are using Pegrity. Pegrity is a fluency program. It's kind of like a quick way to get kids to be able to interchange sounds and words. And we realized quickly last year and the year before that our schools that were using Pegrity, we had more students reading on grade level at the end of the school year than the schools that were not. And so this year we mandated across the district that all schools were using Pegrity. That second column there are the literacy intervention programs that are being used across the district in tier 2. And then the supplemental programs are iReady, Amira, Edmentum, Read 180. These are the things that you might see your children coming home with and working on. Those are programs that are supplemental. So students are self-paced, right? They can go on their iReady My Path and they can do things that are specifically, aligned to their needs based on their testing of that program, but it doesn't replace actual teaching. It's a practice place for students to improve skills. Next slide, please. Thank you. So now I want to talk a little bit about the screeners quickly so that everybody understands what your children are taking in school. So the window for the screeners closes at the end of next week. We use iReady as a district. So iReady is a universal screener, right? It tells us where kids are with skills and standards on grade level. It's going to give us an indication that they're below grade level in phonics, in vocabulary, in comprehension, in fluency. What it doesn't tell us is the granular areas within those subcategories that they're falling down on that's causing them to be below grade level. So we test the students on iReady. Students are flagged either one grade level or multiple grade levels below. All students in every school that are below grade level get secondary screens. But the secondary screeners are specific based on the literacy component. So if their phonics is below grade level, they're getting a phonics secondary screener. And that secondary screener is going to tell me specifically what little Catherine is struggling with. So it's not that we're sitting children in front of us and we're just starting over with a first grade phonics curriculum. The teachers are being really specific as to which components of phonics or phonemic awareness the child needs to close the gap and move on. And then as students are placed in groups, they should be having 6-week cycles of these interventions. Every 2 weeks, students are progress monitored. Every 6 weeks, students are reassessed to see if their reading level has grown as a result of this. And if they've reached the goals set forth by the group, then they're removed from the group. Sometimes they don't need a tier 2 or tier 3. Sometimes they move tiers from tier 3 to tier 2. The hope is to get them to tier 1 where they don't need any intervention at all. But that's the goal of the MTSS team, is to keep their eyes on this and keep the groups fluid, moving students from group to group. You might have a student that has several needs, so they may go from a phonics group to a fluency group, to a comprehension group. And the hope is that we flip the pyramid. that we have less and less students who need intervention because we're strengthening core and we're closing the gaps for students. Next slide, please. We can go on past these for me. Go ahead, one more. I talked one more. Sorry, I talked about all this. Okay, so this is what the targeted support looks like. So as I said, tier 1 is core. Tier 2 are students that are 1 to 2 grade levels below or in the 35th percentile. The students are getting the intervention 3 times a week. The difference between tier 2 and tier 3 is the dosage, so how many minutes they're getting and the group size, right? So they could be using the same program, they can all be using Spire, let's say, but kids that are in tier 2 might be getting it 3 times a week in a group of 15, and kids that are in tier 3 might be getting it 5 times a week in a group of 5, in a more concentrated way. Tier 3 students are students that are more than 2 grade levels below, or 16th percentile and below. Next slide, please. So I want to make very clear, and I always share my slides with CEC, you can take a look at this. Our students with disabilities and our ENL, multilingual learners, English language learners, they are not getting services replaced with MTSS. They are getting MTSS in addition to their services. So it's not like, oh, we're pulling out some students for standalone ENL and we're gonna count this as their small group instruction. They're getting their state mandated sets, ENL minutes. In addition to that, they are also getting small group MTSS for tier 2 and tier 3. You can go ahead, pass this slide, basically the next slide says the same thing. Oh, I just want to note for else, so for newcomers, brand new to the country, students that are here less than 5 months, could be screened for additional information purposes only, but they are not being considered for MTSS, right? We need our newcomers to start to work on their language acquisition before we determine that there are any gaps, right? It's safe to assume at that point, we need to focus on learning English. Next slide, please. We talked about this, so this is the progress monitoring data, I can go on, I talk ahead of myself and then I don't need the slides. So, what is the difference this year? Keeping families in the loop. What the ask is this year for schools and families is, you are going to receive your updates on your child's reading proficiency 3 times a year. So you should be receiving as a parent their iReady and Acadians data. I received my iReady and Acadians data for my 1st grader last week. And you should be receiving it as well. If your child is getting the extra help, you are gonna hear from your school every 6 to 8 weeks. Telling you, first you're gonna hear about their screeners and what group they're in and why they're getting services. And then every 6 to 8 weeks, you should hear about how they're doing in those services and if they're remaining, ending, or switching to a new focus. And you should be getting materials for your children at home, in your home or preferred location. What we're asking schools to do is not just to simply tell you what we're doing to your children, but invite you in to learn about how you can support your children at home. So every single school needed to submit a New York City Reads Family Engagement Plan, and every single school is going to be reinventing how they engage families with support at home. Next slide, please. So this is family support in action, right? Share your child's growth stories with us. Join us in setting reading goals, attend workshops. Please engage with the schools as they send you the information and stay in touch with your schools. Ask questions if you need to. Next slide. Okay, so next topic. So that's MTSS in a nutshell. Cell phone policy. We have had very little bumps in the road with our cell phone policy across the district. Most of our students understand the need to keep phones away during instruction time. We did have a severe delay in some of the yonder pouches and the safes being delivered. All schools had contingency plans. All contingency plans were put into action. In some cases, the school's contingency plans worked better than what they thought they were going to do. And so they canceled their orders and reappropriated the money elsewhere, since what they put in place was working. And we've had no issue thus far. So that's the update on that. So everybody has the materials at this point, and we're moving forward. Next slide, please. Attendance importance. And then I have just one more piece after this. I want to make sure that everyone understands the need for every child to come to school every single day. Of course, we want you to keep your children home if they're sick. I speak from experience. I'm convinced that my 5-year-old this is for us. I don't know how else she got sick so often last year in kindergarten, but I do understand when kids get sick, you need to keep them home. But I really want to stress the importance of kids coming to school every other day, not just because we want them to have great numbers, but because in order for them to do all the things that I just described and master the standards to move on to the next grade and really be ready for, college and career trajectory, they need to be receiving the instruction. And you can see that we're serious about this. What's going on in our schools is going on every period, every day across the district, and if your child is home, they're missing out. And so I just want to make sure that I'm encouraging you to make sure your children are coming to school. And please, I know sometimes, especially being on the receiving end of those letters that are saying your child is chronically absent, your child has this many days missed, it's important for you to take that seriously and pay attention to it. So if you know your child was out with bronchitis for 2 weeks, don't take the vacation to Florida for a week. Please, we're begging you. This is just some data, next slide. Even though this is not chronically absent data for across the district, and even though we're doing better than the city, we still have 30% of our students chronically absent. And what chronically absent means is more than 20%, right? And so it's really important that if they're absent 1 day a month, they're chronically absent. Next slide, please. Thank you. The next thing I wanted to talk about is just a little bit about family engagement, parent engagement across the district. After looking at our CEC goals and our end of the year data, we have developed a district plan. For not only for me to engage more with families as the new superintendent, but also to really build upon parent leadership. It is my hope that we are not just partners with parents, but that we are breeding parent leaders to support each other. I know we have family connectors and all the things that are part of the Chancellor's vision, but I really want to make sure that we're hearing what parents want and responding in kind. So one of the things we're doing is our town halls. We're making sure our families are connecting with schools around New York City Reads. I'm doing a campaign. I did my first Meet the Superintendent and Dismissal today at PS 100 with some of our neighboring schools. And it was super exciting to meet parents. Parents were ready for me. Some of them had lists for me and they handed it to me. And I was happy to stand there and to talk about what their concerns are. But they really had more good things to say than that. So please look at our district social media accounts and the parent newsletters and see where I'll be. I will be all over the district. I am really interested in what you have to say. And we have such a powerful CEC. I'd like to see these efforts replicated in our PTAs and allow parent leaders across the district. So that is my superintendent.
Nadia. Do we have any questions, Mr. Superintendent? Questions from the council? Any questions from anyone here in person? Any questions from our virtual attendees? I don't see any. You got a thesis. You gave us so much information, you covered it all.
Yes, it was comprehensive.
It was excellent. Thank you so much for that. Moving on to the next thing, is the president's report. So I'll jump right into that. Since we last met, we observed the anniversary of September 11th. As always, thank you to all our schools who acknowledge that and, share and inform and educate our children, none of whom were around at that time, all born well after the events of September 11th, 2001. So thank you so much for that. All of us have lived through that day, whether you're here in New York City, somewhere else, and you've since come to New York City. It ties us all together, so we really appreciate the work our schools do on that. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, all observed. We hope you had meaningful holidays. Monday was Italian Heritage Indigenous Peoples Day, so it was closed. We recognize the indigenous peoples and their deep ties to our country, including here in South Brooklyn, Southern Brooklyn. We celebrate the heritage of our Italian American neighbors and Italian Americans throughout Southern Brooklyn, such a huge part of our community. I got to join the Middle School for Innovation. I'm a parent there now, but I got to join with my family and we marched in the parade this past weekend. So that was a great event. It was very rainy, so it wasn't great in terms of the weather, but it's always a great event, and it was great to be out there with other schools marching down 18th Avenue, the heart of Italian culture in Bensonhurst and South Brooklyn. This month is National ADHD Awareness Month. 1 in 9 kids in America are diagnosed with ADHD. And there's so many people who are undiagnosed. And we know in our schools, many of us as parents, myself included, we know what kids contend with when they have ADHD. Our educators know, our administrators know. We thank you for all you do to help support our students and take care of their unique needs. National Breast Cancer Awareness Month is October. Most families have been impacted by breast cancer. My mom is a breast cancer survivor. She's 25 plus years beyond after the treatments she went through. Actually, a friend of mine who I just found out has been battling breast cancer and is actually having a very tough time. And I know everyone's family, everyone, their friend circle in some way has been impacted by breast cancer. We've made so many strides throughout the years in better detection and better treatment, but it's still there. And we just want to always raise awareness about how important it is to do your regular screenings and share that with all your family members and friends, and also to remember all those we've lost breast cancer. Some important upcoming dates between now and our next meeting. Schools will be closed this coming Monday, October 20th, in observance of Diwali. So last year was the first year since that became a school holiday when it fell on a school day and it was observed. This will be the second year. We wish everyone celebrating a bright and happy Diwali. The IEP binder party for District 21 will be taking place a week from today. Some of us here were on a call today about it. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be at PS212 and it will be 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's a great event. You get to, if you don't know, you get to learn what an IEP is. You get all the information. You get to know what you need to track, what should be in an IEP binder. It can be daunting. As an IEP parent myself, you're constantly learning about what you need to know, what you need to keep track of. So it's very helpful. So if you have a student with an IEP, come on out to PS212. You'll get a binder. You'll hear from other parents. They'll share stories, information. You'll get a binder with lots of information and know what to include in there and keep putting in there to track your child's IEP and best advocate for their needs. School, again, that's next Tuesday, the 22nd at PS212. Schools will be closed for Election Day on Tuesday, November 4th. And again, just always like to remind everyone to take advantage of your most fundamental right as a citizen, exercise your vote, your right to vote. I encourage anyone who's not registered to do so. Encourage those you know to register if they're not. And in addition to Election Day, the early voting period kicks off on Saturday, October 25th. So, and that runs through the following weekend, Sunday the 2nd. Then there's no voting on the Monday, and then we pick up again on Election Day proper. You can always check nyc.vote to find out the polling sites. Most times, not always, most times your early voting site will be different from your Election Day polling site, but you can go to vote, nyc.vote. I'm sorry, vote.nyc and check that out and find your polling site. And I also always like to thank all of our schools that serve as polling sites. We know it's a little easier on Election Day because the school is closed. We know on primary day what you go through. We really appreciate this. It is so important that we have this ability for everyone to vote, and we know how hard it is for the schools to put that on. So we really thank you for serving as polling sites. On November 11th, a week after Election Day, it's Veterans Day. Schools will be closed. Thank you to all our service, for all the service of our veterans. Evening parent-teacher actually evening and some afternoon parent-teacher conferences. We have November 6th for elementary schools, November 13th, middle schools and D75 schools. And then on the 20th and 21st of November, there's going to be for the schools that run through grade 12. So you can check out all the dates on the school calendar on the DOE website. Those dates for the parent-teacher conferences. Some admission dates middle school application. I mentioned earlier that we had the middle school fair at Moody last week. Great event, it was amazing. We had all our middle schools from CEC21 there represented, presenting, meeting with, all the families who are coming out to see. We're trying to figure out where their fifth grader is going to go next year. So the middle school application opens today. So there's lots of open houses happening. You can go to the District 21 website and there's a calendar there and you can check it out. You can just see where the middle school open houses are. Many schools are doing multiple, some in the afternoon, the school day time, some in the evenings. So check that out. You have until December 12th. If you have a student that you'll be applying for middle school, that's when it will close. The high school application opened last week and that will run through December 3rd. I mentioned in my activity report earlier in the business meeting that all of us, citywide and community education presidents from across the city, we had a DOE update last night in a meeting on Chancellor's Regulation D210. It covers a lot of things, D210, but it was two particular provisions that relate to council member conduct. So, I'll just read you quickly what those two sections are. One of them prohibits council members from engaging in conduct that harass, intimidate, threaten, frequent verbal abuse, unnecessary aggressive speech that intimidates or causes others to have concern for their personal safety. That's one section. The other section is about prohibiting council members from engaging in conduct involving derogatory or offensive comments about any DOE student. I think we were all kind of agreeing before, these seem pretty obvious that we shouldn't be harassing, threatening people, certainly not students. This was put into the code a few years ago. Really there wasn't too many instances of it. There was one a few years ago, and the former chancellor had taken action against a council member, or might have been more than one council member, and there is litigation now. So due to that litigation, they're pausing these two sections. They won't be enforcing those at this time. So I mean, I would advocate to have those back in effect as soon as possible, but I'm very proud of this council that we certainly don't ever have to worry anything. We're not going to be harassing or threatening anybody, certainly never a student. So, I think that speaks to like the integrity of this council, and I'm very proud to be a part of all of you. So also National Fire Prevention Month, the FDNY is hosting some open houses. So that's this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the 18th and the 19th. So your local firehouse, the EMS stations around the city, they're hosting these. They take place from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then again, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So you can go out to your local firehouse, or if you're near an EMS station, you can check them out. They're going to be providing fire prevention and fire safety tips. They're going to be, meeting with the community to explain what they do and answer some questions. So if you'd like to do that, you can simply go Google FDNY open house and you'll find the locations where they're taking place. School crossing guard positions. I always kind of add this for the end of my presentation. They're available. We need them filled. It's a great job for a lot of people. I had an older relative for a while who loved doing it. A lot of time, it's a 20-hour-a-week job, oftentimes very close to home, providing an invaluable service. We know that we need a lot of intersections covered that aren't right now, and we know how unsafe our streets can be for pedestrians, and we don't want any tragedies with students. We know that we've had some students here in this district struck by vehicles. There was in District 20, there was 2 students very seriously injured, sitting on the curb. They were on the sidewalk. One is critically injured. So that was just a few days ago. I know there's a lot of worry about this. So if anybody would be interested in a job like that, please share that. They could just go to nypedrecruit.com That's also the same site to go and apply if you wanted to be a resource officer. And Halloween's coming up, so looking forward to all the great events at all schools around the district. District 21 schools always do a great job with their Halloween events for our kids. And I'm wishing everyone a great day of fun, reminding everyone to be safe. And with that, I'd like to know, does our first VP, Lakeisha Barron, would you like to provide any updates?
Okay, really quick, we would like to invite everyone to the Knowledge is Your Key Resource Fair happening October 28th at Liberation Tacoma Plus High School from 5 to 7 p.m. This event is open to everyone, doesn't have to only be in District 21. And just to mention a few resources that will be there, the Driving Community School Administration of Children's Services, the Mayor's Family Justice Center, Divine Victory, Jobs Plus, Forward Connect NYC for construction, if you're interested in construction opportunities, DYCD, DCAS, and a few others. But if you're looking for employment or any type of resources, October 28th is the place to be. I'm also going to state that we have some elected officials and their representatives that will be tabling the great information. So I want to thank Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, the Borough President's Office, our Assembly, Alec Procrasney, our State Senate Jessica Scarcella-Stanton, and also our City Council Justin Brennan. I will have the flyers if you need any.
Thank you, Lakeisha. I'm sorry, Lakeisha is our second vice president. Our first vice president, Petra, do you have anything you'd like to add? Thank you, Petra. So now we move on to report of committees. We actually don't have anything to report this month. We're working on some topics for committees that we might schedule some committee stuff coming. And the council members, if you have any interest in presenting anything, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to, set something up for some committee meetings. Moving on to public comment. So requesting 2 minutes per comment. Do we have the sheet from the back? If you have any. Okay, I think we covered that. So, send a member. Did we have a Brian Aguilar that wanted to speak? Okay. Here. Yep. Right. Yes. Yeah. No worries. Thank you, Brian. Here you go.
You want me to?
You can speak straight out. That's fine. We can pick you up.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I'll keep it nice and short. My name is Brian Aguilar, the Senior Program Manager and Director of One Wings at American Debate League. We're the largest, I think, at this point, debate league in the New York City tri-state area. We have partnerships with the following districts in Brooklyn, District 19, 18, 32, and happy to announce now District 23. Which have all been led under my initiative to increase debate in those districts. Not to mention, we also have partnerships with 30, 24, 25, 26 now. We're building up 27, 28, and now we have District 11 and soon to be 10 as well. So we're slowly trying to build across as many districts as possible, debate leagues in coordination with the district, superintendent's office and the principals working within those districts. To be able to bring public speaking and debating to all students in the New York City tri-state area. Our league is for elementary and middle school students. Specifically in District 21, we do have a small presence. We're currently in PS 153. And we've done quite well. I think we're second place at the District 32 debate tournament, they were kind of like invited. So we really want to continue to increase our role in the district and public speaking overall. And we really want to ensure that every child, regardless of their income or language barrier, has access to great public speaking and debate skills. We also want to announce that we also created certain districts, Spanish debate teams. So that students who speak Spanish are able to debate in their native language. So that initiative has been put forward in District 32 under my watch. And it's been a success, and we're now bringing it to District 11 as well. So if that is something also that is useful with District 21, I can also discuss that. But thank you very much, and have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I was reminded of something too that is very important. So I spoke about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and someone reminded us to make sure we mention for men to also screen for breast cancer. I will share that I went to elementary school in District 20, and my principal actually, years after I left, lost the battle to breast cancer. And you know, he was a man. Oftentimes men do not think about screening for that, so it is critically important that men, especially when you get to a certain age, you do screen for breast cancer as well. So thank you for that being reminded to us. I think also we're gonna have some comments available. So we have Adam Simpson from Prep for Prep. So Adam, the 2 minutes is all yours. I'll hand it over to you.
All right, appreciate it. I'm just going to start my stopwatch so I don't go over my time. But thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Adam Simpson, and I just wanted to make folks aware of the Prep for Prep program. Prep for Prep is a leadership development and education program that prepares high-performing students in 5th, 6th, and 7th grades for success at the leading independent schools in New York City and boarding schools across the Northeast. We prepare students for success at these schools through a 14-month academic program where students are taking advanced level classes with us while continuing to attend their neighborhood school. We also partner with each family in identifying and applying to independent schools, and we advocate for them in the application process for financial aid. I should mention that all of the schools that we place students into and partner with reserve spaces and financial aid dollars each year for prep students exclusively to make sure that these schools are affordable for our students. In addition to the academic programming, our students also have access to leadership development opportunities through paid internships over the summers and study abroad opportunities as well. All of our programming and resources are completely free of charge, and we rely heavily on a lengthy admissions process to fill our contingents each year. So our applications are currently live and will be open through the first week of January. And lastly, educators in the community can also nominate students who they believe would be a good fit for our program. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in learning more about, please visit our website at prepforprep.org. And you can speak with an admissions officer like myself through the website. All of our contact information is there. We are also available to host information sessions for families, educators, PTA meetings, things of this nature, or do tabling events for like high school fairs and such. So I believe that's my time, and appreciate the opportunity to just tell you guys about the program.
Thank you, Adam. You can feel free to drop any information in the chat if you'd like. And if anyone didn't get that or anyone here wants the information, you can always reach out to us at CEC21@schools.nyc.gov, and we can help provide the information for Adam and or for prep. Are there any other requests or comment on the virtual things? Don't see anything in the chat. I don't see any raised hands, just going once, going twice. And are there any questions from anyone here in person we didn't get to? Don't see any. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn the October 2025 calendar meeting? That's Vera, seconded by Eddie. And with that, we are adjourned for October. we'll be at 238. PS 238 on November 19th for our November meetings. We look forward to seeing you there. Happy Halloween.
Thank you.